Smello! We stink. Well, metaphorically.
You just showered.
We
you
metaphorically
literally
stink.
just took a shower.
Yeah, it's true. I did take a metaphorical shower. Hello, and welcome to a Star Trek ship to steer her ship. Bye.
Sure.
It's the closest he's
we're
gotten
a
yet.
Star Trek podcast. And my name is Jake. Joining me today are...
Chris.
Ames.
Caitlin.
And Jake. Again.
It's too many Jakes.
Today we're going to be talking about 2 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. Nope. Star Trek Voyager. The Next Voyager Generation. They should do a Star Trek Voyager The Next Generation.
Oh, with Tom and B'Elanna's kid or something, right?
And Naomi Wildman.
And where are the salamander babies? I demand salamander babies.
They were eaten by space eagles.
Damn it!
But yeah, no, this is just Star Trek Voyager, the original series. And today we're going to be talking about 2 episodes, The Raven, Ka, and Scientific Method.
Caw.
Exactly.
Do ravens caw, or is that just crows?
Ravens do all kinds of weird
Ravens
things.
say nevermore, my dude.
That's what it
That's
is.
true.
Is that what you were going to say? Sorry.
I'm glad somebody...
Joking aside, though,
Sorry.
haven't ravens occasionally mimicked human speech, or is
Oh
that
my
a different
God.
Corvid? Corvids are really clever, so it's possible.
Corvid.
I'll look that up while Jake summarizes.
Do it.
Corvid Dallas. Multi-ass.
There's a war between the mourning doves and the blue jays at my bird feeder, and it's been very entertaining.
Real dicks, those birds. Alright, so, in the Raven,
Caw. Perhaps.
yep,
Or just maybe, hello.
hello, I am a Raven. 7 of 9 is learning to be more people, or at least that's what Janeway hopes by taking her into the holodeck to fuck Leonardo da Vinci. But da Vinci isn't there because John Rhys Davies is expensive. So instead, we're just hanging out in his workshop, and 7's like, all this stuff is bullshit, and I don't give a shit about it. It's all irrelevant, yada, yada, yada. Same old, same old. Meanwhile, Voyager needs to get across... This is like the theme of the show, right? The whole show could just be called Voyager Needs Permission to Cross Somebody Else's Space. And it turns out that that's what needs to happen. They need to cross the Ba'omar coming.
The butthead. I'm trying to call them buttheads, but also sound like they're a thing. Never
They
mind.
were buttheads. Well, they had funky fucking helmets. They had like weird, I don't know. Their
Weirder
costumes were
than
very
the-
bizarre.
Weirder than the original Cardassian headgear.
Yeah, even
Yeah,
worse. Yeah,
yeah.
much worse.
I feel like everybody in the Delta Quadrant looks like they have a dick on their face in one way or another.
Well, that's Berman for you. So anywho, yeah, so the Bomar are like, okay, you can cross our space, but you have to follow this serpentine route and take 4 months, and you can't come within 3,000 light years of any of our dicks. And while you're in there, we're going to be constantly checking your buttholes for contraband.
Sounds hot.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Yeah, and Tom was like, well, you had me at butthole, but everybody else... was like, nah, this ain't a good idea. But they're total dicks. Meanwhile, 7, while she's trying to be more human, she starts like...
Speaking of buttholes,
she starts having like waking dreams, hallucinations, where she sees Borgs coming at her, and she sees a bird, like a black weird bird, like a crow, and like just all this weird stuff happens. And then eventually she just goes mental. And steals, she like starts sprouting Borg shit out of her body. She gets her Borg shields back, which I don't know why the Doctor took that away, because that just seems like something you'd want.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she basically pulls a Data and Brothers and just kind of like, just goes all
I thought that too, yeah.
catatonic and just steals a runabout and a shuttle and leaves the ship.
Although there were, for a fucking change, a ton of protocol about how to keep her from taking a shuttlecraft.
But she just
none of it worked.
blasted.
None of it worked.
Lock the doors! She blasted through the doors. Why did we put weapons on these shuttles that could be fired in the bay? I don't know.
well, I mean, that's why they didn't take her shields away, though. So in case she ever did this shit, I would think.
That's true. So anyway, she leaves the ship, and meanwhile, the Omar are like, wait, you got a Borg on board? You fucking dicks. All right, deal's off. You ain't coming through our space. Fuck you. We're going to go chase down and kill that Borg that you let loose in our territory. And Janeway's like, oh. So they send Tom and Tuvok after her in a different shuttle. But they have to be all sneaky about it to not tip off the Omar. And they finally they track her down like instantly. It took like no trouble at all. And
barely an inconvenience.
Barely an inconvenience. And they Tuvok's like, let's beam her out. And Tom's like, I can't beam her out. And he's like, okay, well beam me. And he's like, all right. So Tuvok beams in and he's all ready to blast her. And she's just standing behind him and manages. He like tries to pinch her, and then she pulls the old Uno reverse, and she pinches him, puts him down. And then he wakes up a little while later, and he's like, "Oh, what? Why are you being such a bitch?" And she's like, "Listen, Tuvok, I'm gonna assimilate you. Actually, nah, we're friends, but I gotta do this Borg shit because like the Borg are calling to me, and I gotta go rejoin the collective." So I'm going to go do that real quick, but then I'll let you go so you can tell Janeway, like, thanks for the help and everything, but I'm going to go be Borg again. So they get to this planet where supposedly there's a Borg ship, and they beam down, or land, I guess. I don't know. That shuttle just disappeared. They get down to the bottom of the planet, and there is a ship there. And the ship is called the Raven.
Hey, we looked at that last week for our Blogtivity.
The Raven, which I'm to understand is another type of bird similar to a crow.
Caw!
Janeway's also figured out the Raven thing because it turns out that this ship is the ship that Tuvok's 7 of 9's mother and father
and
Tuvok all left on, and that's the ship that they were on, and it just happened to crash land on this planet. So what was actually happening, it wasn't really Borgs trying to get in touch with her, it was just some automated shit on this ship, and that was a real weird coincidence.
Yeah, they kind of left that vague.
Either way, we are now discovering that this is the ship that she was assimilated on, and she's getting some closure, I guess. And she's like, you know what? Yeah, being a Borg ain't so great, and they really fucked me up and stole my childhood. So, you know what? On second thought, let's stay human. And Tuvok's like, that's a great idea. High five. They do a high five. Freeze frame. You think it's the end of the episode at the freeze frame, but no, because
did they jump in the air and freeze?
That's right. High five.
That's the best kind.
It was a fist pump like at the end of Breakfast Club.
Sure.
And anyway, the Bomar, because you don't want to forget about them.
Oh, them.
Oh, I kind of did want to forget about them.
They start bombardments. That's a hard word. They start blasting the ship from orbit, and but Tom's there also in orbit in the other shuttle. The first shuttle is totally gone at this point. Tom beams him back up, but then he's getting attacked or something's happening. Voyager shows up. They totally breached the line. They're totally violating these people's space.
Good.
They disable all their ships. Everyone's happy, and that's pretty much it.
I know I've gone on about this before, but I just arrogant aliens. Like, this is just the week of Janeway just kill people. More so next episode, but like just start shooting. Just start. They just fucking fuck these guys. The Bomar are so like just the worst. And it's like at the end of the day it becomes apparent very quickly. Like, you know what, just break off negotiations. It's gonna take just as long to get through their space under their conditions as it is to go around. Or again, just blast right through. I bet your phasers are better. Like their sensor systems are really good, but I bet your weapon systems are better. I bet you could nuke these little fuckers. You could just General Order 24 every planet of theirs you encounter.
And today, Chris chooses violence.
I really do. I just really... They were so smug. Oh, your translator's not working. I wanted her to grab that one guy by his stupid headpiece and just smash him into a wall a couple of times.
Oh, I like that they reminded us that they were using their translators to
True.
stop them. That was
True.
a good touch.
Yeah, but it was like a... is your
Hello,
translator broken?
Yeah, like I was so sad. I was really hoping when they ran into 7 of 9, she was maybe going to kill at least one of them, but sadly no.
Oh, she assimilates their whole race.
Or that.
And now I'm imagining that all these people is just Biff from Back to the Future.
They basically are.
Yeah.
Like an unearned sense of self-importance.
Hey, Voyager, make like a Saurian tree and get out of here.
Saurian tree.
I don't know.
It's a tree that's also a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Neat.
A treosaur.
On a more positive note, though, Neelix continues to be better at people than anyone else.
Neelix does.
I totally
Interesting.
forgot. 7 and 9 has to learn how to poop.
Yeah.
And Neelix helps her.
Neelix like, all right, now push.
But because like we had it like either last week or 2 weeks ago, like B'Elanna being all tetchy at 7, like she had any control over her actions as a Borg. And things like that, people have been looking at her sideways. Meanwhile, she's Neelix like, oh yeah, we assimilated a bunch of you guys. That's musculature. And he was just like, okay, we're just going to smile and nod and keep going. I'm going to push on through and I'm still going to be chipper and try to teach you how to eat.
Yeah, he's doing great at the whole ambassador thing that he's, been tasked with.
Yeah,
But you know what he's not good at?
Cooking.
Steaming food.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so annoyed at that.
Fool, Neelix.
Like, I did...
Chris literally said, that's not steaming, but okay.
Like, and I get it, but just like, who was directing the episode?
LeVar Burton.
LeVar, come on, man.
LeVar freaking Burton.
I didn't notice
to be fair,
that.
consider what he thinks an omelet is. I mean, he's all fucking fall.
That's true.
all
No,
fucked
that
up.
was right.
I know
But he
who
learned it
did
from watching-
but I'm saying
from
he
watching
learned
Riker.
by
I
watching
see.
Riker.
Maybe it's like a locate. Maybe it's like a steamed ham sort of thing.
Mm. Yeah, there
Can
we
I
go.
see it?
No.
I also got very confused because I definitely was expecting a different episode.
There is another Raven episode.
Yeah, and I realized, I looked it up, it's like, oh, that's next season, so...
Yeah, we're going to see more of the Raven. I'll not spoil more of the Raven.
Raisins.
This is... I would like some raisins. This is the Raven that we see that's all busted up and
Yeah.
full of Borg homing devices and falling off a cliff.
Yeah, so I really don't follow what happened to the Raven. So,
Well, we're going to learn more when we revisit this.
but why didn't
this
they
idea.
explain at least some?
I have
here?
no idea because I'm sure they didn't think that far ahead.
They didn't feel like it.
So the Borgs captured the ship somewhere. We don't know where.
Yeah, somehow it got into Bomar space, even though the Bomar are giant pricks.
70 years away from where it started.
60.
Whatever. Yeah, that's true. Thanks, Cass. And and somehow it ended up there. It's somewhat like assimilated, but
I mean,
there's no
it's
Borgs.
giving off a Borg signal, certainly.
Mm.
The other thing, too, is like, while I misremembered what exactly happened, I sort of combined the 2 episodes in my mind is what it came down to.
Okay.
But yeah, when you know what the reveal is gonna be, it doesn't, it's just not quite as interesting. Like, sometimes with an episode, even when you know what's gonna happen, it can still, like, be really intriguing to watch anyway. But with this one, it's just kind of like, oh, we're taking a while to get to this.
The reveal being that it's a ship?
That it's her family ship
Okay.
and all that stuff, and it's not actually the Borg per se, sort of.
So they read her Borg diary.
Mm-hmm.
Borgs keep diaries.
In which she goes off on Harry Kim an awful lot.
Kind of an invasion of her privacy. To be
Well,
honest.
but she's also a criminal. She stole a bunch of shit and hurt people. But she didn't kill anybody. She was
No.
very careful not to kill people, which is nice.
Yeah.
So you gotta get inside the mind of the killer. Or the, criminal. You gotta think like a Borg. Read their diary. Makes sense.
It's just resistance is futile over and over again. It's like that scene in The Shining. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, but it's like made to look in different paragraphs and different designs across the page. That's just how her diary is, but it's resistance is futile.
And sometimes we are Borg sprinkled in just every
Yeah.
every 100 pages.
That's the thing, though, is she's all about efficiency, so she wouldn't have, like, the different... She would just have hers over and over, very neatly,
Just in a
sort
grid.
of... Yeah. Like, she doesn't use Word because it's too, like, random. She only uses Notepad because all the...
Oh, well, because it's a courier font.
Yeah, and every, like, letter takes up the same exact amount of space and all that, so...
Yeah.
I just think she just writes in, like, binary or something,
Well, they said she did, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, well, she has some kind of code.
Yeah.
There was a 2.
I think, and this is another instance where, like, for dramatic effect, they have Janeway be like, a Raven. I know what's happening. I know exactly what's going on. And then you think everybody else would be like, what, Captain?
That's true. She just walks
Never
off.
mind, I'll be making a dramatic reveal later. As she, like, twirls her cape and, like, flips it across and, like, throws it back. The bird, though, in her dream didn't look like a raven. I felt like it looked like a hawk. Am I the only one that was not getting raven vibes from
Hawks
that bird?
are brown.
I know that, but I didn't think that, like, or it was the close-up on the eyes when they were doing the eyes of the bird. I was like, that's not...
It was definitely a raven, because the note that I read on Memory Alpha, which is my favorite new note, is that the bird actor was very well behaved.
Oh, it's because it was smart. Because ravens are smart. I just felt like the close-up on its eyes didn't strike me as looking like crow or raven eyes, but...
No.
I don't know enough about birds.
That's so Raven.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Didn't I make that joke recently?
I don't know. Maybe.
I did, by the way, look it up. Ravens have been known to mimic human speech.
What do they say?
Resistance is
I'm a bird.
futile.
Oh
I guess.
no!
Well, I've shown you that video of that one outside of the pub in
Oh, yeah.
England. It's like, you're right, love. You're right, love.
Wow.
It just keeps saying, you're right, you're right,
That
you're
does
right,
remind
I'm
me,
all
though.
right. It's great.
I never really noticed before that apparently they I don't know if they do it regularly or it's just for this one guy, but that one Borg in her dream who like did the Raven's cry. I don't know what they put in his mouth to turn the whole interior black, but I bet it tasted nasty.
Huh. Yeah, they did kind of jump over, like, Janeway figures out, oh, it's going to be a Federation ship because it's the Raven, obviously, and they skip, because I was able to piece this together myself out of, like, wait, how does Janeway understand this? And it's, because she's probably read she's probably read Seven's file, that the Hansons were in the Raven. This is a thing specific to Seven that Janeway would know, and the audience does not yet know.
Yeah, well, because they did establish he'd read her file earlier on, but they didn't mention the name of the ship in the episode, so...
But also, it's quite a fucking conclusion to jump to that, oh, she's mentioning ravens in her dream journal.
True.
The ship she's looking for must be the ship that is the Raven.
Well, they knew there's no Borg ships in this area.
I mean, it could have been, it could have been like a Hugh situation. It could have been a crashed scout ship. Who knows?
I am looking forward maybe to finding out in the future episode what the fuck their parents were doing in the Delta
Oh,
Quadrant.
yeah. They are going to talk about
And how they got there so quickly.
Seriously,
forget if they discuss that.
Tell us your secrets.
Because, like...
They do. I looked at the episode I thought this was going to be. They explain it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
As long as it's explained, because if not,
For
I'll
now,
be writing a strongly worded letter
For now,
25 years ago.
we'll continue to assume they're the worst parents in Starfleet.
Oh, I mean, that's still true.
You guys want to know what the original idea was?
Please.
Okay, here we go. In the original script, which was called Resurrection,
Erection.
some aliens somehow turn Seven's Borg bits back on, and Seven goes on a killing spree.
Oh, dear.
Because what they wanted was the last scene. They had this envisioned last scene, which is very fucking Terminator, because it's Seven crawling toward the warp core to go blow it up or something, after Torres has blown Seven's legs off, and Janeway is there doing her typical crossed arms, stop this, Seven. And Seven saying, please kill me.
What? Who came up with this?
I don't know.
Jesus.
It's
What
a
the
lot.
fuck?
I'm guessing Rick Berman did, because that sounds like his kind of weird torture porn that he might be into.
How are they going to deal with the fact they've blown her legs off?
She's a Borg and can grow new ones.
That's a bit dark for Star Trek.
It's awesome robot legs.
Jiminy Christmas. That's a terrible idea. I'm
Yeah, the
glad they didn't
producers
do it.
basically said, like, there's nothing character-driven in this story. It's all just because you want this weird Terminator scene at the end. Can we do something that's, like, character-driven? Because we're still developing Seven's character and would like her to catch up to the rest of the crew. She's about to surpass the rest of the crew in terms of character development, to be honest. Because the rest of them are still mostly blank slates.
Harry Kim is bad at women.
We knew this.
Tom is good at women.
Is he?
Is he?
I mean,
I think he's...
Compared to Harry Kim?
compared to Harry Kim, yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
a
he's
low
got
bar,
one,
you
so
know?
he reeled one in.
Chakotay is a Native American.
Which tribe? Don't ask.
The ones that were descended from aliens, evidently. What else? Who else has got... Oh, Janeway has a dog.
And likes coffee a lot.
And likes coffee.
I mean, like, really likes coffee.
Tuvok is a Vulcan. And did not once drop a young woman from a cliff.
He could have done that just on his own time.
Yeah,
We don't know that he didn't.
He didn't
but
drop that young
that's
woman
true.
off a
That's
cliff.
true. So yeah. So I think we know quite a bit. Oh, the doctor is
A hologram?
Oh, I was
Terrible father.
Yeah,
A real
I was
boy.
going to say really bad at parenting. And Neelix is a cat, sort of.
And has a really traumatic history.
Neelix the cat. It sounds like Felix the cat. We'll give him a little magical Felix bag. It's perfect.
Wonderful.
So I don't know what you're saying.
Okay.
We definitely know a lot about these characters.
Yeah, I feel like I've known them all for a long, long time.
Oh, B'Elanna is angry.
Actually, joking aside, we do actually know a fair bit about Neelix's background.
I know we do. Like he's actually got some good development. We knew a lot about Kess. Oh, sad
Womp
face.
womp.
And Suitor.
Bro,
Yeah.
I'm
My
so sad. I
boy.
really loved Kess. I appreciate her now even more now that she's gone. It's just upsetting.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Oh, here's I don't know if you guys noticed, but Seven is in a new bodysuit.
Yes,
did.
brown.
The silver one's gone because it was just too fucking constricting on the actress.
This one still looks bloody constricting.
It's still constricting. The neckline is lower, and there's going to be another one I think we see later.
There's eventually a
It's
blue
back
one.
higher again. They still suck.
Yeah, they're still terrible. I forgot it was replaced that quickly.
I mean, she's
I'm
still
glad
got the
it was.
corsetry underneath.
Yeah, you can see. Yeah.
Which I think is the thing that's the most constricting. But what are you going to do?
Well, you could be a human being to your actors, and, well, never mind. It's Rick Berman.
If her waist were not being constricted, we would have less ogling to do. So clearly it was important.
Yeah, if her boobs weren't defying gravity, how could you tell how big they were?
I mean, there were shots in this episode, like when she was in sickbay talking to Janeway, and I was like, it's unnatural. It is Barbie doll proportions. It's actually kind of upsetting. Why did they do this? I mean, I know why, but
You know why. Young Jake knew why.
Young Jake definitely knew why. Young Jake knew all too well. But I gotta say,
Did
old
you
Jake.
balance your checkbook thinking about 7 of 9 quite a bit?
You could say that. You could say that. 7 of 9 taught me many, many things.
About accounting.
Yes. Resistance was futile, if you know what I
Christ.
mean. And the chafing.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah, I don't know. I really got much else on this one, to be honest.
Yeah, it's fairly simple. I mean, it was an A plot, B plot that dovetailed in a way that was logical, which I didn't bat an eye at, so that was fine.
Yeah, like I said, it does just kind of suffer from knowing what's going on.
In terms that you knew already that it was going to be her ship? Is it because I told you last week, oh no, I take the blame for this?
No, because I did remember that they would come across the family ship at some point, so I was like, oh, this is that one. It's not the one exactly I thought it was, but I still, I knew what was causing her to freak out, basically.
You know what's ridiculous, though, about this episode is that there was no personal effects. I would have expected...
Oh, on the Raven.
I would have expected her to, find a
a
dolly
teddy
or
bear.
something.
Exactly, yeah.
Find something that,
like a crayon drawing she did with a big heart around a Borg face.
Or better yet, have Tuvok find it and be and then he puts it together. Oh,
I will say, the dynamic between Seven and Tuvok is quite nice.
Yeah, that was good.
They're very interesting together because she's Borg, and he's logic.
They're kind of similar.
And they fit in a nice way.
Yeah, I feel like, Vulcans, I'm sure there were Vulcans who have gone, I mean, it might be logical to let them take over. They are kind of better at this than humans. Yeah. I did love, though, when he got the pinch. I feel like his face was very much like, oh, you know that trick, too!
Oh, no!
Right before he went down.
I was wondering, can you Vulcan neck pinch a Borg?
I imagine
Or
maybe.
Maybe
Well,
maybe an
she's
ex-Borg.
people, isn't she?
Yeah.
It depends on if that nerve cluster is still there.
Yeah, I'd imagine a fully armored Borg? No. Her case? Probably. Again, unless if one of the things they couldn't remove was some sort of plate right over that.
Or if it reactivated with all the stuff that was just reactivating in her.
Yeah.
He never did get to use the hyperspray.
No. I presume that then happened off screen between sequences, though, was the implication.
Maybe if she did it to herself, that would have been a good touch.
I was kind of half expecting that when it was there on the console, like Schrodinger's hypo.
Yeah, when she realizes, no, Tuvok, I'm not going to assimilate you, because we're buddies. Why would I do that? And then she said, wait, why wouldn't I do that? Grab the hypo, stick it in her neck. I'm people after all. No scorpions for me.
It is pretty funny that they would make a big deal about showing us that he had figured it out and then not use it on camera.
Gives the EMH screen time. It's in his rider.
Cool.
The EMH has to save the day at least twice per season.
That works.
I think he gets way more than that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's at least, not,
Speaking of the EMH saving the day.
There we go.
Hey!
Okay, well, in the next episode after that episode we just talked about, The Raven, the next episode after that is Scientific Method. Scientific Method. And in this episode, I don't really remember how it opened so much, but...
Janeway getting a back rub.
Oh yeah, Janeway's getting a massage from the doctor.
Huh?
It's rough.
I don't know why she didn't go to the holodeck to that sexy town where everybody else gets laid.
The
Risa.
Paxall Resort?
Yeah, whatever it is. But no, she had the doctor do it, which I thought was a little strange. Maybe it was a medicinal massage. But anyway, so that's happening. But she's been real crabby. It turns out she's been having a week.
Janeway, I can feel.
There was a weird scene where they were trying to do some kind of diagnostic, and Seven was hanging out in the tube. And
Oh yeah, she and Torres were looking for a place to masturbate.
yeah, B'Elanna showed up, and then they were in the masturbation tube and had a little awkwardness there, but that kind of went away, and we didn't talk about it again. Meanwhile, B'Elanna and Tom are getting their kissy face on, and they're gonna actually fuck in engineering.
Yeah, what the hell?
In earshot of the rest
Not
of
just in
engineering.
earshot. If you recall the layout of engineering, there's two floors, and the second floor has a giant open floor in the middle of it. So anybody on the lower floor can look up and clearly see the people fucking. I don't know, they camera angled it so you couldn't tell, but I knew that there's a big hole in the floor.
Well, and also, she's part Klingon. We know it's going to be loud.
It's going to be loud. So why? Why? It's not that hard to find secluded spaces
They were
on the ship.
were in the Jeffries tube together earlier. They did it in there too, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
They
With
both
those
have their own
flowers.
quarters, though. Why?
Yeah,
I don't know.
big ones, because they're officers.
Just
So
go fuck in
anyway,
your quarters.
they're-
Or in a holodeck.
Well, it's a kink. You want to get caught by Tuvok, apparently. And they get caught by Tuvok.
Damn it, Tuvok!
So that happens. But people are just generally kind of offish. Robert Beltran's character is called Chakotay. Gets old.
He turns into a skeleton,
He
man.
turns into a weird... Makeup was probably one of the better old age makeups.
No, it wasn't.
In terms of, not looking like a rubber mask.
Well, yes, but that's not what people look like when they get old.
No, but he looked emaciated and gross.
He wasn't necessarily. He had a disease.
That's true. Anyway, sorry, I'm interrupting.
But yeah, he...
Makes you lose all your hair.
He turns old for some reason, and the doc doesn't know why. And then Neelix turns into a leopard cat as opposed to a regular cat.
A stinky leopard cat.
A smelly leopard cat. Doctor doesn't know why, but then he's like, oh shit, there's some kind of genetic thing. People are getting random genes woken up in them. So he and B'Elanna try to figure out what the fuck's going on for some reason. B'Elanna's going to help, and then they're like, huh. Something's messed up going on here.
All the genes say Kilroy was here.
Yeah, there's some kind
With
of
a little face.
There's somebody's been graffitiing all over these peptides, and they're just about to stumble on the answer, and then B'Elanna's like, oh my god, Doc, someone's trying to delete your program. And he's like, what? Who would do such a thing? And she's like, all right, I'll transfer you to sickbay because you're on your mobile device. And before she can do that, she just passes out for some reason. We find out later that her lungs just stop being able to process oxygen, which is not great.
No.
I hate when that shit happens,
It's the
Real bad
worst.
day.
So the doc now is lost, evidently, because nobody knows where he is. He's not in sickbay. He's not in his mobile emitter. He's just gone. So we're having a little meetup in sickbay, and Janeway is really in rare form. She chews out Tuvok. She's yelling at B'Elanna and Tom about their fucking, and everyone's having a rough day. Seven's there, and then she gets a weird phone call through her head, apparently, from the doc. The call's coming from inside the brain.
Next Apple device. Oh, God.
And he's like, psst, hey, Seven, I'm in the holodeck. I got dressed up in a costume.
Yeah.
But I'm in the holodeck hiding. So I'll be over here sketching people.
Badly.
But
Yeah.
really badly, but please come hang with me. So she goes there, and he's like, listen, I don't know what's going on, but I think there's some alien influence or something. So I'm going to reprogram your eyeballs to be able to see things outside of the normal phase of the universe.
Oh, yeah, and that's what he and Torres were trying
That's what
to
they were
do
trying to
before the incident.
So she's walking around the ship, and she's got her eyes reprogrammed, and she's looking around, and she keeps seeing these weird aliens everywhere. And then she notices that, like, people on the crew have, like, equipment, like metal rods and weird headgear.
And huge acupuncture needles smushed into Janeway's
Yeah,
face.
Janeway, who's been complaining about her headache all week, has, like, literal nails in her head. So yeah, but only Seven can see this, and she doesn't want to tip anybody off. So that she goes back to Doc. She's like, "Yeah, there's definitely some alien shit going on." And he's like, "Yep. Well, what should we do about it?" She's like, "Well, I can blast everybody with a dose of energy, and that should, make it so everyone can see the aliens or something." And he's like, "All right, let's go do it." She's like, "All right, I have to do it from engineering." So she goes engineering, and then Tuvok, who is like really on top of shit today, is like, "Huh, someone's trying to blast the entire crew with some energy. Hey, Seven, what are you doing down there?" And she's like, "Nothing,
just masturbating. Don't come down.
Just doing a thing. Don't come in. Just doing the Cool Whip. Do the Cool Whip.
Yep.
Cool Whip."
That just happened.
This is going to a place.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry,
So-
we'll do Mentos later.
So he's like, I'm going to check this thing out. So he comes down there, and she's just about ready to blast everybody, and he's like, "All right, cut it out." And she's like, "God damn it." So then she just does the thing that she probably could have done the whole fucking time and just shoots one of the aliens with a phaser. And that makes it so that everybody can see them, and then everyone's like, "Oh shit, there's fucking aliens everywhere. Let's arrest them." But they can only get the one that they can see, and that one's like, "Yeah, we're just scientists. We're just like you. We're doing science shit." And Janeway's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And she's like, "We're just doing science stuff like you, you know?" And Janeway's like, "Well, I don't get it. Why would you do this? Well, you can't do that." And
We stopped experimenting on helpless animals centuries ago,
How
Dick.
many nails are in my head, you say?
So, anyway, yeah, the aliens are real dicks.
26, you say.
They
That's too many.
refuse to leave. They're like, "We're going to keep doing our experiments, and you can either let it play out. Yeah, there might be some light maimings of your crew. Don't worry about it, though. Just let it happen, and then we'll leave, and you'll be all set." And Janeway's like, "Nah, fuck this. You know what? I'm gonna do what Janeway always does.
Yeah!
Destroy the fucking ship."
Jane Wade!
So, early episode, they'd introduced
Oh
this
no,
idea.
something happened to Chris.
There were these pulsars, these dueling pulsars, and
Not
Duel
to
of
be
the
confused with
Pulsars.
dueling banjos.
yeah. So Janeway's like, "I'm gonna fly between those motherfuckers, and it's gonna rip the ship apart." So aliens, if you don't want to get ripped apart with my ship, you should leave. And they're like, "You won't do it." And everyone on the crew is like, "No, she does, this is what she does."
She's done this before.
She, like, if there's an opportunity to destroy the ship, she's gonna take it. And she does. She flies through the thing, but miraculously the ship survives. But the aliens do leave. Some of them get destroyed because their ship
Good.
ship's
was so
not
happy.
as good quality.
So happy to see that ship get destroyed.
Me too.
But yeah, we come out the other side, and apparently everybody got healed off screen.
Except that one woman who died
Oh yeah,
horribly.
there was a woman that did die.
Oh, phew.
They were like, "Captain, this person," and I was like, "They're quickening."
Yeah.
Big quickening vibes.
There's this great scene where like the doc's like, "Oh man, she's in rough shape. She's dying," and Janeway's like, "Yep, I'm gonna do some old fashioned CPR," and Doc's like, "All right, you do you."
It's not going to do anything. I've already tried.
Yeah. So
You have a headache, so have fun.
yeah, and I guess Tom and B'Elanna are now like a Facebook official. Everybody knows. No more secrets.
Well, everyone heard it already, so...
Heard it, seen it, smelled it.
Oh, dear.
Oh yeah, those aliens, man. Like, again, this was just the week of the worst aliens.
Oh, yeah, these guys really fucking suck.
They all deserved to just be horribly murdered.
In the ways that they were murdering the people of the crew.
When Janeway snapped and went to like really just, it's like, yes, good, beat the alien to death. Very disappointed she didn't. Like, these guys are just straight, they're like unwilling experimentation. Like, now that's some Nazi shit. They don't deserve the time of day. Just kill them.
I know.
This reminded me somewhat of the aliens from Time's Arrow, in that they were.
But they were only picking off the dying.
Well, yeah,
they seem better.
They were feeding on people. They weren't doing experiments. They were feeding on people. They had the same out of phase.
Oh, that's a
thing.
good point. Okay, in terms of the ethics, Vidians versus these guys, a book tells me that they're called the Srivani. Vidians versus Srivani. Who's worse?
These guys, I think.
Tell me more.
Well, I don't know. I think, so the Vidians, yeah, there's some bad Vidians, but for the most part, they're trying to survive and doing what they have to do to survive. These people are like working for Maybelline, They're like doing cosmetic research.
Oh, that's a good one.
Better living through torture. And, yeah. So I don't know. I think, the end result is pretty much the same. People get maimed and killed, but the motives are like, I don't know. I'll give the benefit of the doubt to the Vidians since they'll literally die if they don't steal Neelix's lungs.
Okay. How about these assholes versus, I don't remember if they get a name, the jerks from Schisms who kept stealing Riker through a wall and not letting him sleep.
Did they ever establish why they were doing that?
I don't think they did. And they didn't, they also didn't ever get to talk to them. It just happened that Riker at some point, woke up, took whoever was still being experimented upon, and they left. And I think that was it. Schisms was not good.
I mean, I think Schisms was a very similar situation, right? Because it seemed like they were doing experiments on people.
Yeah. And I kept thinking of Schisms while watching this episode, thinking at least this episode, they talked with the other aliens, they kind of understood what their motivation was, and were able to bring it to a conclusion, while Schisms just felt like a discombobulated mess.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good episode from what I recall.
With building a table in the holodeck.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, these guys, I can agree with Jake. Fuck the Vidians too, but you can understand how you'd be driven to that desperation.
Mm-hmm.
They're still monsters, and they're terrible. But these people, yeah, it's like you said, they're just doing it because, it'll make our lives better. It's not that we're dying as a species of some sort of incurable plague.
But what if they can cure something?
Yeah. Or, wouldn't it be funny if we turned this guy into a spotted cat?
That's the thing. Some of it, I'm sure, is just because they're bored. They are just arrogant pricks, and I'm sad we didn't get to watch one of them beaten to death.
We almost did. We got a tease.
I know. That's why I'm upset. It's the show's edging me, I just wanted to see Janeway just wail on that person to death.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see her hit her also.
There's that, huge security guy in the room who tries to pull her. She just gives him a look, and he's like, never mind.
Here's what I don't understand, right? So the aliens were out of phase. So you couldn't see or feel them.
Could you smell them?
But the aliens' equipment could attach to people and not just fall through them.
Don't overthink it.
Okay.
By which I mean think about it much at all. The point is they're awful.
So just don't think it. Full stop.
Don't dream it. Be it.
Thank you. I was genuinely trying to remember that line. But yeah, no, I quite like this one. Just pure cool. Awful people that you could enjoy just despising.
Okay, my favorite scene, and this is probably controversial because it's actually a fun scene. Chakotay and Neelix in sick bay comparing ailments like a bunch of old fogies in a retirement home.
That was amazing.
Okay, good.
I liked it.
I said to Caitlin, I was like, oh my god, it's the Four Yorkshiremen sketch.
And I didn't know what that was.
Well, yeah,
I don't think I know what that is.
So the thing is, it's a Monty Python sketch, but I don't think it's one they ever did on their show. They did it on one of their, like
a live special?
Yeah, on a live show that was recorded and you could watch, but it wasn't like... But basically, and I'll try to find it, I'm sure it's on YouTube. It's just these four, they're like well-to-do guys in like fancy clothes. They're now very comfortable gentlemen. But they end up, like, trying to one-up one another on how horrible their upbringing was.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like that. It's like, oh, yeah, well, everything... I can't see that panel. Oh, everything's too bright in here. I won't be able to walk soon. I already can't. Yeah, that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. The back and forth was done really... Like, the timing was great.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
they're both funny guys.
Yeah.
I know, like Ethan Phillips, like, is just notoriously hilarious. Like, last episode when he was teaching Seven how to eat a food, she, like, could barely keep a straight face.
You can see it. I said the same thing.
Throughout that whole scene.
You just can see her trying not to crack up the whole time.
Yeah, because he's darling.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a good scene. Again, though, it was weird, though, to get Cote's makeup. Because, like, he's supposed to have a disease, but he basically said it was essentially progeria, causing him to rapid age. And it's like, why are his eye sockets like that? That doesn't happen when you get old.
Well, they said that his metabolism was sped up.
Oh. Okay.
So, like, I could understand that, like, maybe he just, like, not only was he getting old fast, but also he was just burning through...
Okay, that makes a little more sense. Then.
All of his meat.
I mean, you're right, though. It did look good as far as making it. It
Yeah,
didn't look like
it
rubber and latex.
Yeah.
But I was just like, God, he looks like he drank the wrong Grail.
Yeah, compared to Jameson or something.
Oh, God.
Melting wax figure.
And a big fake underbite, if I recall. I'm Maxwell. Terrible episode.
I don't remember if he had an underbite. Didn't he just sort of like... Didn't they just try and make him look jowly or something?
Well,
and it just made him look like a ventriloquist dummy?
Yeah, that might be it.
I think he really jutted out his lower lip or something.
I think he did that as a young man, too, though.
Maybe he wasn't a very good actor.
That's my guess.
It's possible.
What, acting? Or
Acting.
the jutting out the lip?
Both.
Okay, great.
All of the above.
I assume maybe a little inspiration from They Live in this. I've never seen it, but I'm aware from, like, memes and cultural osmosis. That's the one where, like, the guy puts on the glasses and can see all the, like, the signs actually obey, and some of the people are actually aliens with weird puckly
All I could
places.
think of was Tillinghast and all of his
that's
gross
good.
stuff floating around in different dimensions.
Yeah, because you can see the other things that you can't see outside your normal senses.
I mentioned that to you, remember?
You
I
did.
couldn't remember the name Tillinghast until now,
not,
but
yeah.
I was like, it's with the guy when he sees things, and Chris is like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking
No,
about.
I eventually did. I couldn't remember Tillinghast either, but yes, that was his
from
name.
the Lovecraft story From Beyond.
Yeah. So yeah, a little bit of both of those going on. Sector 7 and 9, though, is like, oh my God, and one of them's poking me. Oh,
And I have to
Jesus.
pretend I can't see him.
They didn't seem to be doing anything to Tuvok. Like, they followed him in, but, like, he didn't seem to have any gewgaws poking out of him.
Not everybody had equipment in them.
Well, there's only, like, what they said, like, at least 50 or so of
56
these
aliens?
guys.
Yeah.
Possibly more that 17's
But
fine.
the thing I found the most creepy is that they don't know how long they were there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's upsetting.
Well, we know it's been at least weeks. Like, we don't know
Yeah.
how long, but we know it's at least been weeks because Mama Changeling Alien was like... I don't know why I was getting Changeling vibes from her. But she's like, yeah, we've been really impressed by how you've been behaving the last few weeks. And I was like, bitch.
We really loved it when you killed those Bomar.
Much worse hair than the Changelings, though. Changeling hair is just dull. Theirs had that weird flock of seagulls swoop on the side.
Mm.
It's like, man, you deserve to be killed just for that haircut, never mind your cruelty.
Wow.
That's harsh, man.
The fashion fascists have spoken.
But, yes, I'm glad you mentioned, though. I don't know why it's so amusing, but the fact the EMH just cannot draw is kind of great.
It
That
was
face
so bad.
It's sad, dude. The rest of it's, like, fine, but then the face is just terrible.
Maybe he was acting during.
Maybe that's the only part he actually drew was the face.
The EMH and Seven should have an art class together because her sculpting skills from the previous episode.
Oh, God, where she was just poking that one piece
It's like
of
putting
clay.
I'll just put a
back
chunk
and
of
forth.
clay on this person's nose.
Well, part of it I think is just because with the prosthetics or whatever on her hand that were obviously not real prosthetics, she probably just had to not gunk them up.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like the actor was probably trying not to get shitloads of clay embedded in her.
Yeah, but I just,
presumably
again,
latex finger covers.
like I said at the time, just the face she was making while she did it. She was just conveying very well, just like, what is the point of this?
And then she used words to convey that point as well.
Well, yes.
Jerry Ryan was purportedly delighted that someone else had to wear spandex in this episode because the Doctor was wearing these freaking tights when he was in that costume.
And we don't even see them.
That's a loss.
I'd have to go back and look because I know he is now convinced he's got the nicest ass on the show.
Oh, shit,
Who
fair
was
enough,
convinced?
Bob.
Bob
Picardo, yeah.
Really?
I
I don't know.
I've never seen
Seven
it.
of
It could be
Nines
good.
is pretty good, being fair.
I did like when he asked for the equipment and it just appeared in the bucket and it
Oh yeah,
thunked and wiggled a little.
I was just watching that like there is a guy back there that when they give him the cue,
Just
he just
punch
goes,
the-
he just
yeah,
bops the
pokes the
bucket, and it's somebody's job, and that's always funny to me.
Yeah.
Like the people who have to open and close the doors of when people walk in and out.
Yeah.
I'm just endlessly amused though that the Doctor got into costume to do this hideout in the holodeck.
You got to do it right.
You
man.
got to fit in, or they'll know.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a good point. If he thinks someone is watching him, he's got to look like he's part of the program. He'd stand out if he was
Because
in
they already
uniform.
tried to delete him.
Yeah. Oh god, speaking of people's jobs, there is something from the last episode I forgot to mention. The terrible ADR on one of Tuvok's lines.
Oh, yeah, but at least he was facing away from the camera when he did it.
Yeah, but you could tell his mouth wasn't moving.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And it's just like so much dialogue is ADR'd anyway. Like, how did you fuck that up so badly, making it not sound like it was in the same room?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
pretty rough.
oh.
Yeah, Garrett and Robbie bring it up all the time on Delta Flyers when they're saying, oh, yep, I could tell that line was ADR'd and I did a terrible job of it.
See, at least though, usually for us as the viewer, like, the mix at least is, like, fine. But this, it's like they just slapped it on and forgot to blend it in. So yes, much better job on the Foley and the thump on this than the ADR last line episode.
Cool.
But yes, I,
Enemies.
like you mentioned though, just, it's like, oh man, it's classic. Janeway's gonna blow the ship up, but because she's stressed, instead of just activating the self-destruct, she's gonna take it one step further, and she's gonna fly you into a sun. She's lucky they didn't go into time warp when they snapped out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is she lucky?
Fuck, I had another thought. It just died on the way.
While that dies, how are you guys feeling about Tom B'Elanna going on so far?
I'm okay with it. You know, this is one of the better relationships we've seen, I think, on Star Trek.
I don't mind it, but they need to cut the shit.
I do need to cut the shit.
Yeah, I would prefer to think their hormones were being artificially stimulated. Because, like, guys,
be professional.
Don't fucking engineer.
You're the chief engineer, B'Elanna.
Well, fucking engineering if you must, but don't do it when you're on the clock. I mean, you know, if you want to be stupid,
render
that's
a holodeck
what I said.
engineering.
It's like, you can do it anywhere. Like, what are we doing?
always somebody in engineering. It's like, it's one of those locations.
Get, what's his name? Maybe he'll like to watch.
Vorig?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Harry seemed to be trying to...
Yeah, why was Harry trying to muscle in on their romantic dinner?
That was
He
weird.
was hoping to get a
Three-way
glimpse.
time?
I gotta say, though, you know, of all the people that managed to seemingly avoid the aliens, Harry. They didn't fuck with Harry.
Oh, man.
I noticed that.
Shocking.
It's like, he seemed fine the whole time.
It's because they can smell every other alien that's fucked with him over the course of this show,
Yeah.
and they're just like, we're not going to get anything useful from that one.
Yeah.
He's soiled goods.
Contaminated sample.
They scanned him. They're like, okay, so somebody put fake alien DNA in him already, and
Oh, he's been dead
she's
like several times.
8472 goop.
And he's technically from a different dimension?
Yeah, you know what? This one's weird.
Leave him alone.
He's going to just fuck up. He's going to fuck up all of our studies. We can't have this.
Like, we don't know what's gonna happen. He might just explode. He might get superpowers. We're not sure, and we don't want to find out.
I made a quip at the very end that I'm stupidly proud of. And that's when Torres and Paris are, having their cute little date. And I say, oh, look at the cute little top on Torres. And I don't mean Tom.
Yay.
Also, she's the top.
Yeah, I was going to say,
That's
Torres is obviously
exactly
the top
why.
of that relationship, yeah.
So yeah, overall it's fine, but I was a little like, I'm torn, right? Like, showing up with flowers, but like, you used the ship's computer to tell you exactly where she was. It's like, that's a little borderline. It's a little weird.
Creepy.
But also, like, giving him flack because he had to do an extra shift. Like, come on, man. Like, he couldn't help that. I think he wanted to do an extra shift.
Well, I think just like in Strange New Worlds, she was trying to express that there need to be some boundaries in their relationship, and it's okay for her to expect him not to blow her off last second.
Well, yeah, but again, he might have been ordered. It probably wasn't like, yeah, you know what, I will do that. It's probably like, oh shit, Ensign Smith has the shits. Tom, we need you to hang around.
Ensign
Which part of
Smith
Strange
always
New-
getting the shits.
Which part of Strange New Worlds are you referring to?
To Paul and Spock when
Oh,
she's
those
like,
dicks,
you keep
okay.
prioritizing your work over me all the fucking time.
Fair.
I'm just saying, that if that's the kind of, especially if it's happened before, she's allowed to be like, don't blow me off last second. But I get it.
And to be fair, having Paris be the nurse is still a terrible idea.
Oh, the worst.
Like, he's already got, the most full-time job on the ship. Other than captain.
Yeah. Well, and Tuvok, because I'm sure he insists only he can do it right.
One last note.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a Section 31 novel
Oh, no.
that establishes that the woman that gets killed is Ensign Roberta Luke, who is a Section 31 operative who was assigned to Voyager to gather intel on the Maquis.
Sure, why
Oh,
not?
what are the chances?
100%, because a novel needed it to happen.
Oh.
Oh, God. God.
Why would Section 31 give a shit about the Maquis?
Seriously.
That's a good question.
They would look at them and just go, how much of a threat are they? Literally none.
They're going to be annihilated pretty shortly.
We do not give a fuck to be... Like, if anything, it feels like Section 31 would be, like, CIA-ing that shit, you know? Like, giving them guns and crap without admitting it's them.
Not just that. I'm pretty sure Section 31 is the Maquis. Like, that's just what it is. It's like it's like the Spider-Man meme when they meet.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. With the pointing.
I buy it.
Although it seems like the Maquis on the Voyager are the only ones that really get out, so...
Everybody else does get annihilated by the Dominion. That's
So
true.
much.
Quite a lot.
Well, I guess Eddington's wife survives.
They're gonna get her.
Yeah.
The rest of the Maquis get wiped.
Maybe that was Eddington's wife.
Well, I think she went to jail, didn't she? I'm assuming they went to
quote
jail.
unquote, went to jail, by which they mean went back to Section 31 headquarters.
Right.
Good theory.
Hi, buddy.
Well, the White Cat is here telling us to move on to our blogtivity.
Look at that
Okey-dokey.
cat.
Y'all
He's a
will
good
remember we've been talking about ships. We discussed the Raven last week, but we're going to discuss other ships this week. Because this week we're talking about the ships we meet in the Kelvinverse, and I'll lump in Discovery too, just so we have a good number to talk about.
More like the Smelvin-verse.
Right.
Oh, look at that.
All right, so we're going to start off. The first ship we meet when we're going into the 2009 movie is the Kelvin, which is already making Caitlin sad. And it is interesting because it's got like a nacelle on top and a nacelle on the bottom instead of the normal parallel flanking nacelles.
Well, is that another deflector, or
No,
is
yeah,
that
that's a deflector
nacelle or a
on the top.
deflector
The
dish?
top one has
It is a
that,
nacelle.
that is a deflector.
Pretty sure it's a nacelle. If you go to the next slide, you can see the full thing.
Oh yeah, look
no,
at
that is a the thing on top is a deflector for sure, 100%.
Yeah, it's got the little saucer.
The thing on the bottom is a nacelle.
Oh, so is the top like a body then?
The top is like the engineering hull.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's very strange then.
It's got
Then your
single
engineering,
nacelle.
it feels like your engineering is very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah.
Him looks
That's
like
what
a
that
pizza
is.
cutter.
I feel
They
like
all do.
That's true.
I feel like this
We have
design
one.
goes back to like some of those old like non-canonical blueprint books
Yeah.
though, the like engineering section with one nacelle thing. Like this has been kind of floating around on the edges of fandom for a long
I mean,
time.
I thought you
really,
were gonna say the dark
I don't know
web.
why. Like, it's not a terrible looking ship, I guess, but it looks, for a movie that was fully CG, I'm assuming, for the ships. They probably had no practical models.
Oh, almost certainly.
It looks like a kit bash,
Mm.
and they could have just made it like. I'm sure we'll talk later about the Franklin,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is a much better looking
Okay.
ship.
I look forward to that.
Um,
And it also looks nothing like the Enterprise that we're going to see.
yeah, well, some of the screenshots on this,
Some of them are still designs because I grabbed them from a design
because they look like
site.
Oops.
they look like that has like a glowy deflector, but the other ones had the TOS style deflector.
Yeah, they
So
kind of
it's-
look like people were like, what if this had been...
Yeah, what's the Prime Universe version
Version.
of the Kelvin? But that's
Yeah.
the thing, the Kelvin by definition is Prime Universe because
Oh,
those
that's
events
true.
that ship was built
God
before
damn it.
the universe split. So
God damn it!
Yeah, no, there's some aesthetic choices that make no sense for the Kelvin.
How
yeah.
dare you, Kelvin Universe?
Like it really should look like this. It should have the
Satellite dish and the red stripe and...
But yeah, instead it has features of other Kelvinverse ships.
Yeah. Well, JJ Abrams is a bad director.
And yeah,
Okay, here's
it's not the worst looking ship though.
Here's
No.
the most upsetting story I've heard about the Kelvin. Originally, they wanted to name it the Iowa, so that when
Kirk could be
no.
born in Iowa.
when Kirk in Voyage Home says, "I'm from Iowa, I just work in space," he can literally be from the Iowa, a ship. Son of a fucking
You
bitch.
can be from a place without having been born there.
That's also true.
Like, if he spent his formative years in Iowa, like, oh my god. I hate JJ Abrams so much.
Right? It's so
He is
upsetting.
the biggest fucking hack.
It's enough that that in that movie they change why Bones' nickname is Bones.
That's stupid too.
Son of a bitch.
And I mean,
they did the same, and they tried to do the same for why Kirk is from Iowa.
Yeah, I'm going to point out a lot of my hatred of JJ Abrams is retroactive. Like, the first Kelvin movie at the time, I was like, you know what? It's dumb, but it's entertaining. Into Darkness was fucking awful. It's really everything he's done since with really Rise of Skywalker. Just convinced me he is one of the worst directors in Hollywood. I hate him. Please stop making things JJ Abrams. You suck.
You know what's funny is that JJ Abrams, I feel like he became famous because of Lost.
And he whiffed on it.
A show that was famously whiffed.
It was solid for, I'm going to say, at least 3 to 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And then they realized, oh, we don't actually have a plan. We just have to keep cranking out nonsense. Okay, that's what we'll do.
He first his first major thing was Felicity, which by all accounts was pretty good, and then out of nowhere had a time travel plot in its end seasons.
Felicity did?
Wasn't it a story about a girl, just living
living normal life.
Wow.
But eventually,
Isn't it Kerry Russell?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes it is.
Who plays a Power Ranger in the other JJ?
Yeah, and that's why she's in Star Wars.
Oh, there you go. That's a connection.
I will say, though, she's great in The Americans, which is an amazing show that he has zero involvement with.
The Americans.
Yeah,
great.
she's great in that.
But yeah, what's funny, right? So JJ Abrams. So yeah, I didn't even know he was involved with Felicity. I only really knew him from Lost, but it seems like that was a very famous show. And then they're like, oh, he's the fucking sci-fi guy. We got to get him for all the sci-fi shit. But he fucked that up.
Hasn't he said on record that he had never seen a Star Trek before doing Star Trek?
Probably.
Yeah, no, I think there's a clip from The Daily Show and Jon Stewart chits on him for it.
We'll talk about these. We'll talk about these movies eventually.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah,
we will.
But I wanted to bring that up just because I learned it this past week and wanted to share it. All right, let's talk about the entire redesign of what an Enterprise is for reasons.
I hate this ship.
Do you really?
I hate
it. Tell us about this ship so that the listeners
well, also, this looks like a concept drawing because it does not have a glowy
it looks
deflector.
to be from, if anything, maybe the Eagle Moss booklet.
Yeah, it's from one of the booklets.
Here we go. That's what it actually is.
I have tons of screen grabs. They're all up on our Tumblr for those of you who are struggling to follow along.
Never mind the fact that the Bassard collectors are blue. Never mind.
And they look like sci-fi eyeballs.
The whole shape of the nacelles is awful.
Terrible.
It is just, they're bulbous.
He's a thick boy. Fine.
But I don't like how far back the neck goes on the
I don't
engineering
like how
hull.
far forward the deflector disc protrudes.
Yeah,
it's
everything's
weird.
just a little off.
I
actually don't mind it from the front, but from the side like that, it looks terrible.
I think from certain angles, this ship is okay.
Just like me.
But why? I'll compare it. I'll compare it to the.
Tell us.
There's 2 ways to do a redesign of a classic, iconic thing. One of them is to do this
and just redesign what it is,
and just take it and take bits of it and just make it look goofy and fucking Apple-y, and it looks like a fucking iMac.
It is really Apple-y. Like
and
the chair that we saw on its bridge.
And then there's a way in Discovery when they did the same thing, and I don't know if we're going to talk about that ship.
We are.
They basically did the same thing where they took an iconic ship, redid bits of it, and it looks phenomenal.
It does.
It looks
it's
great.
They recognized the same issues that Discovery recognized, but fixed them wrong.
Yeah.
Those issues just being the fact that the neck and the nacelle pylons look kind of fragile. And they overdid it.
Way too much.
Horribly. I do appreciate that they sort of tried to do a compromise between the satellite dish, deflector dish, and the just glowing panel deflector dish that becomes standard by having a glowing satellite dish. That's kind of okay.
So it's combining the original Enterprise and the refit Enterprise.
Yeah.
I do find it weird though. Yeah, they used the refit saucer section for this too.
Yeah, they did. You're right. It's everything's just a little wrong.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to bring up about the Enterprise in the Kelvin universe is what the fuck is its size? Because this is a gigantic debate. Go to the next slide. I'll put this up because I found this slide on Ex Astra Scientia because there is confusion among the nerds on what the fuck size this thing is supposed to be. Because you'd think it would be roughly on par with the TMP Enterprise, about 300 meters or so.
Yeah.
Which is, just for frame of reference, because I checked today, just a little bit shorter than the Saturn V rocket. Which Jake and I saw. It's huge.
Which is fucking enormous.
It's beautiful and huge. But, I could see an Enterprise ship being that size. What they did in the movie, because Jesus Christ, they made one a little bit bigger than that, because of course they did. They made it to be close to like 366 meters. Not a bad size. But when they were playing around with it and they realized, oh, we have this scene in the shuttle bay when we need to have tons and tons of shuttles in the shuttle bay, and they wouldn't fit. Like, the whole ship, it just looks too small. The ship looks too small, guys, and we want to put more details and shit on it. How about we just times 2 it? And that's what they did. So it's actually, and this is according to like a lot of their like official sites and their official tour site and all these things, it's supposed to be 725 meters long, which is bigger than a Galaxy class.
And they didn't really like scale the windows.
They didn't,
So
no.
the windows are enormous.
Yeah, like there's a whole essay on Ex Astra Scientia on which is more right. And they want to say it's the smaller one because that makes more sense. Because, when you're running down hallways, how big are the hallways? When you can see it from this angle, how big is it here? And it's inconsistent from fucking scene to scene because they fucking ballooned it up for a specific scene to work. And God damn it.
Is this the movie that introduced the idea of the ether space that turbolifts go through?
No, that's Discovery.
I feel like there was something similar in one of the movies.
Don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know Discovery did it, but I feel like they didn't invent it. But maybe
that was in one of the short tracks, right?
I think there
that
was
was
a whole
in the season 3 finale.
Oh, was it? Shit. Still a little irate about that.
It's yeah.
But yeah, I'm just befuddled by this ship and how they had to just redesign the fuck out of it, do it entirely wrong, make it look like an Apple product, and then upscale it for
Didn't
reasons.
they then crash it into a planet? Shouldn't that have had catastrophic
Yeah,
effects?
that's a good point. Well, no, I guess. I mean,
when the Enterprise D crashed in, it like wiped out hundreds of miles of forest.
It also kind of crash landed as opposed to just impacting
That's
an asteroid.
Okay.
Oh, Christ.
A cute little thing that we see in one of the Kelvin movies is called the jellyfish. I entirely forget any context for why we see this thing.
It's allegedly a Vulcan ship, which makes no sense.
He uses it to like fly in and steal the red matter or whatever, doesn't he? Or something?
He uses
Not to steal it.
That's deposit it.
Like,
that's how he gets to from the future, isn't it? Too.
Well, yeah, let's
Fly
get
in on that
sucked
thing?
into the black hole and all that. It's not a bad design.
It's very cute.
But again, as a Vulcan ship, it makes no sense.
Well, it's got the circle-y bit. We're going to talk other alien races ships at some point, and Vulcans are big into circles.
No, that I do know, but like everything else about it, though, it's just too organic looking. They don't have organic ships. It
is true. Kelvin's like, they love putting like rounded angles on things. Like even the Enterprise has rounded angle nacelle struts or whatever they're called for reasons.
But also, like, even though they like their big ring, like nacelles or whatever they are, like the rest of the ship tends to be blockier. Like nothing about this says Vulcan, except his fucking Idic chair.
No, in fairness, we don't really see a lot of Vulcan ships.
We do an Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would have been, 300 years before this ship?
Yes,
Okay.
I don't know.
Because this is late 24th century.
And this might also be Vulcans who have been impacted by other cultures' designs and them saying like, oh, we like that. We're going to take
Definitely,
it.
since their homeworld was destroyed, you would think definitely.
No, this is from the Prime universe, so Vulcan's fine.
Right.
God damn it.
This is this is post TNG era Prime universe. So this shouldn't even look like TOS-y.
Which it doesn't.
It does not.
Doesn't look... Yeah, no.
Yeah. I mean, just as a ship, I like it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember a thing of this movie, so...
I know
so
the
I'm okay
bits on the
with it.
back spin for no reason.
Ooh, I like spin.
Yeah, it's very toyetic.
And it was a special... Yeah, because you can see here, they even have the construction shot. It was specifically designed purpose-built to inject
red matter
into a star.
Okay.
So it could have been some sort of weird joint venture between a bunch of people and... Yeah.
We won't talk about red matter, though, because that's fucking garbage.
I think it would make for a nice little earring set or something.
Yes, you're right.
So
Right.
This is a ship we don't even see, really.
Not well.
Yeah, there's a whole section in one of my Star Trek books on the Enterprise A, which is like the Kelvin Enterprise, but they tweak it down a little bit so it's a little less obscene.
It's somehow worse.
It is
You don't
it is
see. I think
worse.
it's better because it doesn't have the huge bulbous cleavage in the front.
That's
where it
fair.
sticks
I don't
out.
care for those pylons.
Yeah, the pylons
at
are-
all.
Oh, the pylons
I
are
hate the
weird.
pylons. That's my main issue with them.
What's a
Okay.
pylon again?
The thing that connects in the cells.
Oh yeah, they're super skinny. They look like they're gonna snap from the other side. I mean,
Mhm.
From the back.
For a ship that was actually decapitated, it still has a neck here. If I was assigned to the ship, I'd be like, what actually happened to the old Enterprise? Oh, it got decapitated.
Being fair, this one was already in the process of being built when the Enterprise got kerploded. This was originally going to be a different ship.
It just looks like it's made of plastic.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It's bad. It's very bad.
I mean, it was seen on screen for all of 10 frames.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they probably didn't put that much more.
Look at that. Like, the way the back of the neck and the pylon, like, just create this bizarre shape.
They
It's
love
horrible.
rounded angles. They think everything just is a smooth curved line.
It's really ugly.
So they're doing Star Trek 4, right?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Whether or not they are seems to change every other month.
Okay. So if they do, I wonder if they'll use this ship, or I just wish they would do a Prime Universe movie.
I mean, Paramount's dumping all its money into the shows right now, so
They should do a show movie. They should end Discovery with a movie. That's what they should do.
How much longer is Discovery going on?
it's very
They'll
unclear.
Keep milking it, I'm sure.
I even
I know there's only one season of Picard left because they're going to kill everyone at the end.
yes.
Good.
I know. What's her name?
They should start with the writers.
What? I cannot think of Michael's real name.
Sonequa Martin Green?
Thank you. I think she actually did an interview recently where I think she was... Like, I don't know if she'd been told it was only going to be 3 seasons or what, or they were only
Really?
Like, she said
Maybe
they
her
weren't...
initial contract was?
Maybe,
or...
but they weren't necessarily even expecting it to be as long as it has been.
Oh,
so.
wow.
But a lot of that may have been hinging on Paramount being, like, not sure how it was going to go. So.
Right.
I mean, it's got to be popular for them, or they wouldn't keep making it.
No, I know, yeah.
What else are we looking at? Oh, God.
Oh,
We're going to look at
God.
the Vengeance, which is...
What an ugly motherfucking thing.
If we thought the Enterprise in the Kelvin movies was probably fucking huge, the Vengeance dwarfs it. 'Cause it's enormous. It looks kind of like it's made of Legos.
I feel like JJ's Star Wars fandom is showing. Just,
In that he just makes everything huge.
Yeah, but also
Behemoths.
But in this case, too, he, gives over from smooth curves to a lot of angular stuff. There's, sort of a vaguely triangular shape here. The needless gap in the saucer for some reason.
the nacelles look like Nintendo blasters.
Kinda.
Zappers.
Yeah, this is not a pretty ship.
And it's not meant to be pretty. It's meant to be evil.
That's true. It reminds me of, you remember
Which is why
in the
it's dark
Batman, I thought it brings back to Batman, but when the Batmobile in the Batman movie gets its armor,
Yeah.
it reminds me of that.
Kinda.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can see that.
And it's just, look at that. It is
Why
somehow...
is its saucer so skinny, so flat?
I was going to say, it's simultaneously very chunky and way too thin. It's an amazing failure of aesthetics.
God, you know what else it looks like from this side?
Yeah.
The thing that flies into Dune's room in the original 1980s Doom to do him a stab. Doesn't it kind of a little bit?
I mean, I thought that looked more like a pen, but...
Maybe it looks more like the new ones. Either way, I
Maybe.
feel like it looks like a stabbity thing from Dune.
It looks like a bad, drone that someone would own.
It looks like something RoboCop would drive.
Oh, I get it. It works on multiple levels.
I don't get it.
The actor that
played RoboCop plays the guy who
plays
commands
the
that ship.
captain of that ship in the movie.
Which movie is this from?
Into
Into
Ship.
Darkness.
Oh, that's why I don't remember any of it.
Yep. Bad movie.
Oh,
See, I think this is a great looking.
Okay, so Jake likes the Franklin.
I mean,
Tell us about the Franklin.
I like the Franklin.
I think it looks like a nutcracker.
It looks like it's got its legs in the stirrups for a gyno.
It looks like-
I don't like
Oh, God.
No!
it. It does. That's
No, I
what it
can't
looks
look
like.
at the Franklin anymore.
no.
Fuck, you're not wrong.
Damn
you
it!
monster.
You ruined the
I
Franklin.
didn't design the goddamn ship.
Well, let's have a look-see.
I'm not a doctor, but I'll have a look.
So
That was
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know.
Jake.
I see. Okay, and now this is possibly a little bit of misunderstanding on my part too, because I was always under the impression that this predated the NX-01, but I
don't
could be
know.
wrong on that.
I do not
I think
remember.
someone corrected me on that previously on this show, so because this to me looks like what they might. I do hate that there's blue Bassard collectors, but that's beside the point. But this to me looks like a precursor design to the NX-01. So for me, in my head, that made a lot more sense. Knowing that this came after the NX-01, I'm a little less impressed.
So the thing is, that it served in the Romulan War. But
It
whether
doesn't tell me
that
at all.
means it was built at the same time as the NX-1 or a little before, like, because had Enterprise made it to season 5, they would have done the Romulan War. But whether it was purpose-built for that or, it's a
lot smaller than Enterprise.
She is. It's a little vague, but it does feel like it either could have been... Either way, it feels contemporary to the NX-1. It feels like it could be a stepping stone between the NX-1 and later Starfleet ships if you wanted it, or just, again, I like the design overall.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the bulbous nacelles.
No, although the end does match what we see in the TOS
Yeah,
Enterprise.
it's got a better...
I think being bulbous is kind of the Kelvin design.
Yeah.
I do like that it's another ship because I know Chris is a big fan of ships that just have the one hull and don't need a secondary hull.
Yep. No,
Very
I like
streamlined that way.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of got given its size, the fact that it is so small, like I never even realized how small. Just looking at the size of those windows.
Yeah, she is a tiny ship.
Yeah,
she's not much bigger than the NX-1. She might be smaller than the NX-1.
I think she is smaller than the NX-01.
Yeah, I think that's
because look at the size of the
somewhere.
view screen, right? Because in the Kelvin timeline, the view screens are windows.
Actual windows.
Although
freaking Kelvin timeline.
Let's be fair. If we learned anything from their design of the Enterprise, they don't worry about window scaling.
That's true. But assuming that window is to scale with what we see on the bridge, this is a very small ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we see the crew members like walking all over it, so
yeah,
in that movie. It's not big.
No, very small.
All right, but we're gonna finish with that. I know we started talking Discovery a little bit, so let's actually look at the Discovery ships, and we'll start with the first ship in Discovery, the Shenzhou.
Okay, so what's great about this ship is somebody went, hey, what if we didn't put the bridge on top of the saucer and leave it crazy vulnerable?
So where is the bridge on
It's
the...
underslung. That's her.
Oh,
right
that is
there.
smart.
Yeah. It's still exposed when it could be in the middle of the damn ship and have it not matter.
But Discovery took after the Abrams and started putting windows on bridges.
They did, but
Yeah.
It's still, before Discovery, it still never made sense that the bridges were not just in the guts of the ship since they weren't using windows. But yeah, since we're using the window concept, it's still better to be under the saucer than on top.
I think I like the design of this ship overall. The paint job's a little weird to me.
I like the paint
Well,
job.
it's just different.
It's a pretty color.
We don't see this style of paint job on other Federation ships ever.
Well,
I'm not saying it's
Michelle
bad.
Yeoh is a special kind of captain.
I'm not saying it's bad.
She's got style.
I'm not sure about it. It's just different.
Yeah, I think this is supposed to be like an older ship that's been kicking around for a while until we get to the first couple episodes of Discovery.
The one thing I would say, I kind of wish it had round nacelles. I'd like to see it with round nacelles.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like aside from the Enterprise and a few of the newer Discovery, Strange New World ships, all the Discovery ones have these rectangular ones with like the weird, it's not terribly visible in any of these pictures. They have like little 3 small Bassard collectors instead of one big one.
Yeah. But maybe we can say that, like, okay, up until the Constitution class, maybe this was the style.
That's kind of the implication, because I own a bunch of these models because I'm cool.
And they kiss.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
let's talk about the Discovery, which is interesting because it's a fairly flat ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's got the rotating bit in the middle that looks like a target from Target.
Yep.
Wasn't this based on concept art for Phase 2?
It was.
Oh, interesting.
This was, so actually, we talked about Star Wars earlier. This was designed by Ralph McQuarrie, who had designed... So interesting, he designed a bunch of stuff for Star Wars. His initial design of the fighter was the Y-Wing, which of course has, like, big nacelles. And then he went off and, he designed the X-Wing and this, that, and all the other thing. And then they bring him back to Star Trek, and he immediately designs a big triangle ship for them. But yeah, it was based off of Ralph McQuarrie design. It didn't have the, like, cuts in the saucer. But aside from that, it looks a lot like his design for that.
Yeah, I think the cuts are actually the most interesting things about the Discovery ship, other than the triangular design. Because it really does make it look... Well, it looks like a bullseye, but it also allows it to do the spinning thing, which is, it's a very dynamic ship.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, if you think back to the reveal, the sort of the first concept render they did before there was really much else, it originally didn't have the cut. It had almost like a sort of a turbine-looking design in there, which at the time we didn't know there was going to be a spinny bit. So at the time, that's probably what spun instead of the outer ring.
I think I gotta say... I think the spinning is stupid.
Wow.
I do not. I mean, I just think it's stupid. I think it's...
You think it's just there to be
Well, it doesn't
excess?
really serve a point.
I mean, the idea is that it spins when they have to go to mushroom warp.
For some reason, yeah.
For some reason, but it doesn't make... It's not really... Do the people that are in that section of the ship get really...
It's like a gravitron.
Yeah, does
no!
everybody have to stand against the wall?
That's why they have to go to black alert.
Yeah.
They're going to strap in.
Yeah, black alert.
That or they just have to
vom.
That or they just have to really turn up the inertial dampeners before they start spinning.
There's some poor janitor on that ship that's like, oh, black alert, I better go get the sawdust ready.
Jesus Christ.
But overall, yeah, the spinning aside, which is a little weird, it's fun to see that design finally used.
Yeah.
It's interesting that she's sort of a unique color. We don't have bronze Starfleet ships.
Yeah, like the Shenzhou's kind of a unique color as well.
Yeah. But her base is still that, Starfleet gray. It's different, it's interesting.
The thing I like least about the Discovery style of ship is it's so flat that from its side profile, it's very flat, but then its neck is just kind of peeking up.
Yeah, she looks a little weird from the side.
It almost looks like it's like a swimming bird or something.
Yeah, they got these blue Bassard collectors, and I'm not crazy about it.
What's interesting
You
is
don't like blue, huh?
I like blue. I just think it looks silly. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm just used to red, and
I think it looks nice with the bronze.
I think it would look nicer as red. Like look at how sexy those impulse exhausts are.
So what's interesting, you mentioned the Shenzhou's older, but technically, if we're assuming that registry numbers do just go up as the ships are built, she's older than the Shenzhou, 'cause she's 1031.
Huh.
So you kind of wonder, all right, this Stamets guy has this bonkers idea. Let's take these old ships we've got lying around and convert them for his weird idea. Which could explain partly why she's so weird. If she's from an earlier stage where they're still kind of figuring out what their ships are. I kind of wonder, because she's Crossfield class, and we never see the Crossfield. We do see another Crossfield class ship in the first season, but it's the...
Glenn.
Thank you. So, does the original Crossfield have the cut, or does she have a solid, sort of more normal saucer?
Does Discovery have an actual an engineering section? Because
if it must, but they've never shown it.
Yeah, well, because I was wondering, is that sort of engineering-y place that we see? Is that just the spore drive room, or is that also regular engineering?
There must be a regular engineering, otherwise
warp
Reno
drive,
would be around more.
Yeah,
I imagine she's off in real engineering, fixing the warp core, being like Stamets and his fucking mushrooms.
Yeah, and this ship, we do know this ship is loaded with ethereal space for turbolifts to float around in.
Yes, for some reason.
Bigger on the inside.
It really is. I do not when we watch the show. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but it's like a massive open space.
Right. We also. Thank you, Jake. Our next slide is the Discovery A, which is the future Discovery in seasons 3 and 4.
But it's not. It's just it's not a new ship. It's just
that's
a minor refit.
They kind of did what you wanted, though, where you were complaining about the fact that the TMP Enterprise was so drastically refit, it's basically a new ship.
Mm.
So by the 30-whatever century, they agree with you, and they're like, we have refit this so much, we're going to tack an A onto it.
Yeah, this is an impossible ship because
Yep.
in the future, in the 32nd century, and Jesus Christ, all the ships you see in the 32nd century that we're not going to touch on today are absurd in every
They
level.
got these weird floaty bits for some reason.
They love floaty bits.
They do.
They love when
So
parts
weird.
of your ship don't attach to the rest of your ship, and that's their favorite thing.
Doesn't make sense.
Now, is this... Well, here's the thing, though. So, Voyager has the variable...
Yes.
Flappies.
The flappies.
flap. Maybe this is like the next edition of that. It's like,
Man.
you know what? We had such good luck with the flappies. Maybe we'll just make it so we can put these things wherever we want them.
What is the purpose, though? Did they ever say what the purpose is?
I think there's some... I think they said something about maneuverability, but never explained how.
You know, here's the funny thing about Discovery. They show so few like hero shots of the
I
ships.
know, there's such little ship porn.
I knew that the nacelles were detached because they do show that a lot. I did not realize how much else they fucked with on this ship.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, what else?
Well, like the nacelles themselves are completely a different shape.
Yep. They've added these cutouts.
They got
in the
those
pylons.
cutouts, which I've never noticed.
It's gray now instead of copper.
Yeah,
That's true. When
Bronze.
did they paint the thing?
I don't know. They
Yeah,
probably just completely
they got-
replaced the hull.
yeah, because it doesn't have its stripes on its butt anymore, and it
Butt stripes.
doesn't even say Discovery anywhere.
I do like the new nacelle tips.
It'd be better if they were red.
And the deflector, whatever you'd call that, array. There's aspects of it I like. I
It's
don't
like a
even
pentagonal deflector. Or
yeah.
something. Or
I
maybe
don't
it's a
even
hexagon. I
mind
can't
a
tell.
lot of the changes. I just wish the nacelles were attached.
Yeah, that is.
That's my one big like.
Well, all the other future ships.
They should all be attached.
have unattached
It's
things.
dumb.
Just have the weirdest shaped bullshit.
Like, I don't even mind some of the weird shapes. Just attach everything.
I do
It's
think
so
like so. One of the
goofy.
ships that we'll probably talk about is Book's ship.
Oh no, we're not.
Oh well.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Well,
I think there's one more after this.
so there's another character on the show called Book.
It is in a Starfleet ship, so I don't count it. And
Okay.
also, I couldn't find good pictures of
It kind of feels like it's a razor.
It's yeah.
It's like what if the future tried to design a single blade razor and that is Book's ship?
But it does.
I like it.
But it uses the programmable matter, I think, in a cool way, where like it reconfigures itself.
Like a Lego set.
Yeah,
which
like
I think is kind of cool.
with that when the maneuverability thing makes sense because they
Yeah.
actually show it like it can change shape really dramatically to get through things. With this, popping on and popping off your nacelles isn't making
Yeah.
that huge a
Well,
difference.
yeah, like if the ship did more than just have detached nacelles, it might be more interesting.
Plus, imagine, one of those falls off while you're going, and by the time you slow down, you're like, ah, fuck, it's 8 systems away. Shit.
And
Yeah,
you
that's
go-
the thing. I don't see the point of like detaching something
Right?
that you could lose like that.
Yeah, it's really just what looks cool over
Doesn't even look
practicality.
that cool, though.
It does not, but
I think this is phenomenal.
this
Oh,
is great.
What is it?
the Enterprise the Enterprise
it's
from
Pike's
Discovery.
Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Discovery Enterprise. I think
They do it right in this show.
I think they basically, and I know people were pissed off. It's like, well, they are holes in the pylon.
Oh, bring us your model. Jake got a model kit of
I'm
it,
not gonna go
too.
get it, but I
What?
haven't built it yet. It's just a box.
Oh, look at the box.
I don't want to see Jake's box.
I
right
love
here.
I love the Bassard collectors.
They're
They're
orange.
amazing. But yeah, no, I mean it looks like what you would do if you were to reimagine the TOS Enterprise.
Yeah.
And like update it.
They made the pylons a little sturdier. They made the
Yeah.
neck a little sturdier.
It looks like it's not going to... Like, when Jake builds his model, it'll look like it's not going to fall apart like the other one.
They also added the interior blue stripe
Yeah.
to the nacelle, which
Oh
is
no, blue Jake.
Well,
well, the stripe's supposed to be blue.
Yeah.
Jake
that's-
doesn't like blue.
That's a
like blue
callback
there.
to the because they retroactively, with the NX1, they have the interior blue stripe because once you get to the the Constitution, what the fuck is it called? Galaxy class on, the nacelles always have the glowing blue stripes down the side.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Ambassador class did. I don't
Yeah,
think she did.
Don't they? The movie also had Isn't the movie ship have...
So it's got those stripes that are
glow? Or do they not glow?
It's so the thing is, it's not obvious, but they do glow when they're at warp. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't glow any other time. Otherwise, they're just black. Gotcha. Whereas later on, they're just always blue.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the ship looks really good. It takes elements of the motion picture ship, like the swooped back nacelles, which I think look really nice.
Much better.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. No, I think...
Less precarious neck.
Yeah.
I think
it's got the weird little fins that the original Enterprise nacelles have, which are also sort of suggested in the Terrible Kelvin one, but this one does a better job again.
Yeah, I know you've said that you think the Bussard collectors still do the little spinny kaleidoscope effect.
Pretty sure they do. But
it's not the same as the TOS one, because I think it's less light orange. I think it's mostly just bright red light.
Might be.
So you got less of that swirly effect, which I miss.
Well, I know that the model kit comes with motors for...
Whoa!
So.
Oh, no, I look forward to you making this model, Jake.
Yeah, I remember, I think people meant it as an insult, but they've referred to the nacelles with this little cutout, and nacelle pylons with a little cutout as the potato peelers, and I thought that is an affectionate thing to call them. But yeah, no, I love this design. They basically took the original Enterprise and fixed the very small flaws with the design, and thus, I think, created my favorite version of the ship.
Yeah, I like it.
Alright, so we're going to stop there and finish up the rest of the ships that we see throughout the franchise, through all the really new Trek. Next week, and we'll finish that up then.
Oh god, there's a very upsetting rumor going around.
Oh, Jake found a toy. Jake found a little...
Oh, it lights up! Holy
TMP
shit!
Toy.
Nice. That's cool. I've heard a very upsetting rumor that Picard Season 3 is going to make the Star Trek Online Enterprise F canon. And that is a terrible design.
I don't think I've ever seen
What
it.
happened to the Enterprise E?
Oh, I mean, it's been decades.
They always have to build a new ship because designers need money.
That's true.
But it's been a while. It makes sense you build a new one. But yeah, no, if they are going to use... I think it's the Odyssey class. It is hideous. It's like everything bad about the Galaxy class.
Oh no.
Like,
you hate that
superimpose. It's like everything bad about the Galaxy class, and then they turned it into an Intrepid, but also threw in some Sovereign elements. It is fucking ugly.
How does it compare to the J?
Ooh.
The E is just such a good-looking ship.
It really
The
is.
E is great.
Why would they...
Don't fix what's not
And the thing
working.
is, the problem with the Enterprise F is it's designed for Star Trek Online as kind of a hub for an MMO, which... That's fine for an MMO, but this is now a TV show. And the reason I think there's some validity to this concern is that a lot of the stuff we see in the Armada in Picard Season 2, a lot of those designs were actually repurposed STO designs.
Uh-huh.
Like, some were new, but some were just like, oh yeah, we've made that ship from Star Trek Online official now. So I'm like, because I think it's like, oh man, Season 3, I wonder if they're gonna bring back the E or maybe introduce an Enterprise F. And I remember thinking, I just hope it's not the Star Trek Online F, but it might be, and that's an ugly fucking ship. I don't know if it's uglier than the J, but I will say it's uglier than the D.
This is the beauty of not having any opinions whatsoever about the ships. I can't be upset thinking they might introduce that really ugly version of the Enterprise.
So ugly.
Yeah.
No, they've already got the J. They can't get worse than that. We can get worse than that, though, because we got more stuff for next week. Like I said, we're going to do more ship chat next week. You can check out all this ship chat with all the pictures we've been looking at. Mm-hmm. Some of them may have been tweaked for sanity's purpose for uploading to the Tumblr. On our Tumblr, sshbpodcast.com. Make sure you're checking them all out there. They're a lot of fun to put together and talk about. Also, next week, we're going to be covering more The Voyager. Whoa. Shocking everyone. Next week is a two-parter. Ooh. Year of Hell, parts 1 and 2. We've heard that this is a thing that's been forecast earlier when we were talking with Kess. So we get to see what actually happens in the Year of Hell.
Yes.
So that's next week. Until then, listen up on any other podcasts you like. We're on SoundCloud, Apple, Google, all of them. We're on all of them. Find whichever one's your favorite. Listen to us there.
You're already listening to us. Just keep using that.
You did it already. You won. You can also win.
If you call that winning.
Hey. You can also win by chatting with us on the Facebook and the Twitter. The one good thing you can do on Facebook and Twitter. There's so many bad things you can do on Facebook and Twitter.
That is true.
Yeah, so definitely keep hanging out with us. Until then, this has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
Good.
And this is always Chris.
Caitlin, you promised us the Mentos jingle.
Nothing better with you. Nothing better with life.
With Mentos fresh and full of life.
Fresh and cool.
Yeah.
With Mentos fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better. Mentos freshness.